Magandang araw ho sa inyong lahat and welcome to another learning session here in Seminar School Plus. I am Arman Benko of the Colayco Foundation. Kayo mga nanonood dyan sa inyong bahay, watching sa different 150 cable operators carrying RHTV or watching sa via internet www.dzrh.com.ph. You can watch us on live streaming ngayon, every Saturday, 1 p.m. So, we shall continue our topic on the 10 Commandments in personal finance. We have discussed this last week. We have started it last week discussing Commandment number 1. But to run down, para magkaroon kayo ng quick review kung ano ulit yung 10 Commandments, miski na isa pa lang na didiscuss natin. Commandment number 1, pay yourself first. Commandment number 2, which is our topic today, define your financial target at each life phase. Number 3, stop spending on things that decline in value. And commandment number 4, protect your greatest income-generating asset, yourself. Commandment number 5, grow with the economy. You have to beat inflation. Commandment number 6, trust the power of compound interest. Commandment number 7, assess risk and options. Remember the investment rule, the higher the return, the higher the risks. Last 3 commandments, make money work for you. Make use of the power of leverage. And commandment number 9, invest and diversify. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. And last but equally important, commandment number 10, make use of the power of one, the strength in numbers. For those who have missed last week's episode where we started our 10 commandments and discussed commandment number 1, pay yourself first. These commandments, by the way, you can see this in Mr. Colayco, Francisco Colayco's book, Wealth Within Your Reach. It's a bestseller, National Book Awardee, still available in national bookstores. Diyan nga nilatag yung 10 utos or 10 commandments in managing your personal finances. Pay yourself first simply discusses about saving because that is our first source of capital. Mabilis na review lang po ito at I'm sure kayo bang sumusubaybay, mapipick up at maaalala nyo. Yung savings equation na malamang hindi na nagwo-work ngayon, kapag pumapasok ang pera, magtipid daw tayo, huwag tayo masyadong magastos, at kung may matira, meron tayong savings, income minus expenses equals savings, hindi na siya masyadong nagwo-work ngayon. With all the temptations, kaliwat kanan, kahit saan tayo tumingin, kahit saan tayo pumunta, mapapagastos tayo. Kaya that equation, hindi na natin masyadong ine-espouse. Ang talagang tinutulak nating equation, once pumasok ang pera, remember what you have decided and that you will be determined and disciplined na lagi magsasave. Month in, month out, every time may pumapasok na pera. Kung anong matira, yun po ang ating ipagkasya sa ating gastusin. So, income minus savings equals expenses. That is the equation that we should follow. And then Mr. Colayco came up with a savings rule or savings equation wherein magkano ba sana ideally ang ating naiipon from our active income o ating sinusweldo or perang pumapasok sa atin. Sana may kakayanan tayo na tayo makapagsubi, makapag-ipon, makapag-impok 20% of whatever money that is coming in to the household. 80-20 rule. Of course, papaalala natin na kung mabigat yan sa unang pagkadinig nyo at unang yung gagawin na pag-iipon, remember what Mr. Colayco told me, every word I can remember, 10 years ago niya sinabi, not because you cannot do everything, you do nothing. Start with something. If you cannot follow 20%, right away, start with a small amount, 3%, 5%, and graduate it every year. It took me more than 10 years. I think it will take me more than 10 years because up to now, I cannot automatically save 20% of my salary. But I am saving and I'm into that habit, that winning habit of saving regularly. You can do the same. Some more reminders on savings before we get into commandment number 2, the reasons for saving. Save to use, save to keep, save to share. Yung save to use, mga usually short term, 1 year or less. Save to keep, mga medium to long term, 3 years to 5 years bago nyo i-enjoy yung proceeds ng inyong pag-iipon at pagpapalago. the common situation why people have difficulty saving because hindi nila alam kung saan ilalagay ang savings. Kaya tumutok kayo dito sa Seminar School Plus. Visit our website www.colaycofoundation.com. Attend our seminars, even our live seminars sa Colayco Foundation. Read our books, follow our website, our Facebook. Doon yung makikita every now and then, every so often, we give advices or inputs on where to put your savings. Isa pang common mistake ng mga taong nag-iipon, they don't have a target. They don't have a purpose for their saving, nakikiuso lang, nakikibagay lang, o baka sumusunod lang sa misis, sa nanay, o sa boss sa trabaho, kaya nag-iipon. You save for a clear purpose and a clear target. Now, we go to commandment number 2. Okay, medyo mahaba. Isa siya sa pinakamahabang commandment doon sa libro ni Mr. Colay, kung Wealth Within Your Reach. Define your financial target at each life phase. Alam niyo, mahaba ang buhay natin. Let me talk to you as if you were 20, 21 years old, right out of college. Okay, just like my son. My son who is 1 year working already, lagi kong pinapaalala sa kanya ito. Kayong mga magulang na nanonood ngayong Saturday ng hapon, kung hindi nyo kasama yung mga anak nyo, this is a good reminder for them. Sa haba ng tatahaki nila sa kanilang buhay pinansyal, they got to cut it into phases. These phases, kailangan may kanya-kanyang target. Kung ano ba dapat ang nararating ko after the first 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 30, 40, or pag ako hindi na magtatrabaho. We have cut the financial life into 4. The startup phase, the build-up phase, asset allocation phase, and last, the retirement phase. Dapat sana walang kinalaman ng age diyan sa 4 financial life phases. But admittedly, para madaling maintindihan at madaling maikat, we put the chronological age. But this need not be followed to the letter na kailangan pagdating ng 29 years old, makalipat na kagad ako sa build-up phase. If you can make it earlier, so much the better. Kung medyo ma-delay, then you got to adjust things in your life because definitely ang daming pagbabago at maraming pagbabago na mangyayari sa inyo. Sinasadya yung pagbabago o hindi sinyo sinasadya at biglang dumating na lang sa inyo at kailangan yung baguhin ang inyong financial plan or ang inyong kabuuang buhay. Startup phase, ideally sana for 29 years old and below. Pag you are given, kung kayo mag-uumpisa magtrabaho at age 20, you're given 10 years, medyo matagal na yon actually, to get into that startup phase. And first, pagka tapos nyo mag-aral at first time kayo magtatrabaho, imagine the feeling of getting money from somebody aside from your parents or yung mga anak nyo nagkakaroon na ng pinagkakatiwalaan na, nagkakaroon na ng silbi sa lipunan at binabayaran ng kanyang oras, galing at talino. Nandiyan siya sa startup phase. Diyan sa startup phase, most likely yung kabataan, kung bata pa siya, 100% ng kanyang ginagastos o 100% ng perang ginagamit niya galing sa kanyang active income. Quick review, active income, kapalit ng sariling yung oras, galing at talino, at kayo binigyan ng pera, active income yan. Kaya yan yung sweldo, overtime, commissions, basta kapalit ng sarili nyong oras, active income. For those in the startup phase, kadalasan, karamihan, 100% ng perang nakukuha, ginagamit nila, coming from active income. Then you graduate to the next level, the build-up phase. Ideally, that's about 15 years, the second 15 years of your career, from 30 years old to 44 years old. Dito, sana, bago matapos ang, or pagdating sa build-up phase, about 20% ng perang ginagamit or pumapasok sa inyo, galing na sa passive income. From the startup phase, you start saving, probably you have opened a bank account dahil may payroll, you have opened other savings account, and get into some serious bank products like time deposits, and other lend type of investments that we have discussed in earlier episodes. Now, when you get into the build-up phase, 30 to 44 years old, meron ng contribution coming from passive income. Ideally, maganda kung mga 20% of money that pumapasok sa inyo, sa inyong cash flow every month, galing na sa passive income. Asset allocation stage, ito yung nasa peak ka ng career mo. You are in your 40s hanggang umabot ka ng 50 hanggang 60, about to retire. Nasa peak ka ng career, nasa peak ng iyong pagiging active income earner, dapat din part of your goal, about 40% to 60% of perang pumapasok sa inyo galing sa passive income. Yan ang dapat unang, yung mga percentage na binibigay ko, yan yung benchmark. That will be the guide. Kung hindi nyo masunod, kulang, then you know, kailangan nyo mag-adjust. Kung sobra, then mas mabilis yung pacing nyo sa inyong different life phases. 65 years old and above, you're in the retirement phase. 100% ng perang ginagamit nyo sa pang-araw-araw coming from passive income. So, again, I will remind, hindi kailangan masunod chronological age. If you can do it earlier, so much the better. Kung madidelay, then learn to adjust. Kung kailangan mag-adjust every so often, bawat palit o bawat pasok nyo sa bagong dekada, do so. At least now, you have a guide. Now, let's discuss further the assumptions I given. If we have a 20-year-older and newly graduate, about to start a career or mag-uumpisa na siyang magtrabaho, if he has computed, sana marunong siya mag-compute at tumutok lang dito sa Seminar School Plus, we will teach you proper computation. If that person is not, he may not be earning 50,000 pesos a month yet, pero at prices today, yan ang kailangan niya halimbawa. Dahil kung siya merong babayaran sarili niyang bahay, meron siyang anak, meron siyang mga gastusin sa bahay aside from rent or monthly amortization, yung pang-araw-araw niya, ideally 50,000 pesos a month. Pwede niyang planuhin at the time of retirement, dito sa Pilipinas, 65 years old ang mandatory retirement, and let's peg it at 65 years old muna. Then, yung 50,000 pesos niya, today, sigurado tataas because of this thing called inflation. A person who needs 50,000 today, after 45 years, would need an astounding amount of 449,000 pesos every month just to buy what 50,000 is buying today. Ulitin ko po. Yung gumagastos ng 50,000 pesos ngayon, sa panahon ngayon, dahil tumataas ang presyo ng bilihin, kung ito ay 20 years old, pag siya magre-retire at 65 years old, na hindi na siya sumusweldo, retired na siya, sa ayaw at sa gusto niya, kailangan niya 449,000 pesos every month na wala na nagbibigay sa kanya ng sweldo, na dapat nanggagaling 100% dahil retirement phase sa passive income. Of course, lahat yan, parang napakagaling kong mag-compute. It is aided by this book, my favorite, one of my favorite na sinulat ni Mr. Colayco, Pera Palaguin Workbook. Why? Una ho, sa totoo lang, manipis kasi siya, mas madaling basahin. But more importantly, meron ng concepts na ituturo and tuturuan kayo ng computations. So check this book written by Francisco Colayco together with a UP professor, Helen Valderrama, Pera Palaguin Workbook. Madali kayong matuturuan kung paano mag-compute present value, future value, tawag doon time value of money, at kung paano ma-appreciate yung mga interest or growth or percentages na ina-apply ko dito. Madaling yung matututunan. Go check that workbook, Pera Palaguin Workbook, available in all bookstores. Okay? Now, to further guide this 20-year-older, let's follow yung sinasabi natin laging PTT. Purpose, target, timeline. Okay? So kung may purpose siya to build his or her retirement fund, 45 years from now, he or she is 20, 21 years old, magre-retire at age 65. Purpose is retirement fund. Target amount or retirement kitty is 107.8 million pesos na kailangan niyang i-build, start saving and investing, and target amount is 107.8 million pesos after 45 years the timeline from 20 years old till 65 years old. Magkano kailangan niyang isave? A measly 451 pesos every month. 451 pesos every month. Kung mag-average siya ng 20% a year compounded, aabutin niya yung 107.8 million pesos in 45 years. Very, very feasible. Very, very possible. Lalo na at prices today. The 451 pesos every month, month in, month out, from now up to the next 45 years. Miski na tumaas ang sweldo niya, miski na hindi pa siya sumasweldo ng 50,000 pesos today, yung 451 pesos every month, miski na sumasweldo pa siya ng 10,000, barely minimum, kayang-kaya niyang isave month in, month out. Ang critical dito, tuloy-tuloy, walang mintes, at dapat mag-average siya, nababantayan niya on a regular basis, na mag-average siya ng 20% compounded every year. Again, ibibida ko yung libro ni Mr. Colayco, Pera Palaguin Workbook, kaya madali namin nako-compute yan. Yes, because of financial calculators, but even with the Pera Palaguin Workbook, you be aided by it, kaya nyo mag-compute itong PTT and all the present and future value. Now, balik tayo dun sa 4 phases of financial life. Okay? So, if someone needs to save 451 pesos every month, at an average growth of 20% every year, now he can set targets. For the first 10 years, sa kakasave niya ng 451, pagdating niya ng 30 years old, dapat pumapalo na siya ng 152,000. 152,000 pa lang. Sa totoo lang, yung 152,000, even for someone earning 10,000 pesos a month, baka in 5, 6, 7 years, pwede niya makuha yan eh. Okay? Kung marunong at nakinig sila nung episode 1 natin, yung Pay Yourself First. 152,000 pagdating mo ng 30 years old. Continue on saving 451 pesos at sana na mi-meet nyo yung target. When you turn 45, that will be 2.7 million pesos already. O, huwag kayong pipitik, huwag kayong magneneno, huwag muna kayong magbabawas, huwag kayong manghihiram ng 80,807 yung butal para kung ano mang gusto yung paggastusan. This has a very clear purpose. Yes, a measly 451 pesos every month for the next 45 years. Huwag niyo babawasan, huwag niyo pipilayan, huwag niyo lalangyan ng lubak, huwag niyo habang palipad na, ibigla niyo hahawakan yung paglipad ng eroplano. Kailangan tuloy-tuloy ang pagbulusok niya dahil just add 20 more years from 2.7 million, marireach nyo yung 107.8 million pesos. What's critical here is one of the commandments mentioned by Mr. Colayco. Yung nabanggit na rin natin kanina, trust the power of compounding. From 451, it becomes 152 to 2.7 million to 107.8 million pesos. 451 pesos. So for someone who is starting his career, yung less than 500 pesos a month na instead of ipang good time, bisyo, or magastos lang sa unnecessarily, your 451 pesos is buying you your retirement. Okay? Can buy you a good, stress-free retirement. Okay? So, at each new decade in your life, you can actually plan it out. Pagdating mo ng 30 years old, 152. 40 years old, 1.09 million. Pagdating mo ng 50 years old, 6.96 million. And pagdating mo ng 63 years old, 43 million. Add 5 more years, that 43.26 million gets to 107.8 million. Now, why did I break it down further? Kasi there will be times, there will be periods. Sana hindi masyadong humaba, hindi masyadong umikli para madaling yung i-manage. Yung pag-breakdown ko ng per decade, para mabantayan nyo, malapit ba kayo, lagpas ba kayo, or sakto lang doon sa target nyo per decade or per life phase. Kapag medyo kulang, then you need to add more. Remember, it is just 451 pesos every month. In fact, you just put away every year your 13th month pay, sobra-sobra na. Sobra-sobra na doon sa kailangan yung ma-meet. Imagine kung even 10,000 pesos a month, you put away your 13th month, that's a good 10,000 pesos. After 10 years, that's 100,000 pesos already without investing it. Ang target mo lang, 152. So, this is a guide para maengganyo kayo sana na mapalapit kaagad at the soonest possible time. In fact, doon sa mga natuturuan, nababantayan, nabibigyan namin ng mga advice ng financial coaching, mas na-excite sila kapag merong ganito dahil nakikita nila, it will not take them till 30 years old para makuha yung first 152 nila. Or it will take them 20 years working. When they turn 40, saka lang sila, they will make their first million. In fact, in 4, 5, 8 years, they get their first million. Before they turn 50, they get their double-digit million. So, importante na you have laid down the 4 financial life phases at the target at each life phase or the target at each decade that you will get into. Okay? Now, ano yung mga characteristics or kailangan yung makuha at each life phase? Pag startup phase, 29 years and below, ang mga big ticket item mo dyan malamang, your first car, acquiring your own car, it's not so difficult na, lalo sa panahon ngayon dito sa Pilipinas. You should be careful with your credit standing, with your credit score, o anong paningin sa inyo ng mga financial institutions. Ikaw ba at a young age mapagkakatiwalaan sa utang? Kaya build, maintain, protect your credit standing. Kung ano man ang credit standing that you have started at your startup phase will benefit you or haunt you in the next phases of your financial life. And of course, the startup phase, start getting into investing. Start to build funds, lalo na for your wants and luxuries. Yung mga na-discuss natin in the previous episodes, your want funds, fun funds, dapat inuumpisahan nyo na at this phase, startup phase. Lalo na kung single pa, wala pa masyadong maraming obligasyon, it is best to start it at this phase, at this age range, in your 20s before you reach 30. Again, whatever you will do or not do at this phase, startup phase, 20 to 29 years old, will tell whether very positive, very smooth, or very bumpy at magulo ang the rest of your financial life. So be careful kapag nandiyan kayo sa 20 to 29 years old. But again, sa totoo lang, walang kinalaman ng age. Kung kayo umaasa pa rin 100% sa inyong active income, even if you're 40 years old, nasa startup phase kayo. So be very worried about that. It's not just about the age. Sa build-up phase, yung mga 30 years old up to 44 years old, then ngayon medyo may iba. Probably you have started to start a family, you want to build your own home, then big ticket acquisition nyo dyan is yung sarili nyong bahay or tahanan. You should also be very conscious on being protected, properly protected. Lalo na, because you're starting a family, there will be dependents on your dependents already, depending, umaasa sila sa inyong kakayanang kumita. So, this is where you seriously consider being protected or getting insurance products. And of course, dahil nag-uumpisa nga ng pamilya, then the kids' education is a major item in your financial plan. The moment na conceive ang bata, umpisa na ho ng gastos nyo. From the time na ilalabas nyo, hanggang aarugain nyo, from the infant to the toddler, hanggang education, lalo na yung pang-araw-araw, hindi lang yung tuition, tuloy-tuloy na hanggang matapos sila ng kolehiyo at least. So, build-up phase, 30 to 44 years old, different concerns compared to those in the startup phase. Pag nasa asset allocation kayo, remember kung paano ko na-describe, lalo na yung mga 45 to 45 years old and above, nasa peak kayo ng kakayanan yung kumita ng active income, then ibang-iba na rin ang mga concerns na mga nasa asset allocation stage. Yung mga nasa asset allocation stage, isa sa pinaka-concern nila is yung kung paano ba nila iaayos muli or i-rebalance ang kanilang portfolio of investments. Yes, may tahanan sila, tuloy-tuloy nilang binabayaran yung housing loan, baka patapos na, sana. They are also in the middle of funding the education of their kids on a regular basis. Mayroong mga major na gastusin sa bahay, sa sasakyan, sana huwag masyado sa health. Dito rin, nag-uumpisa ka ng, lalo na pagpatapos na yung asset allocation stage, nag-identify ka na rin o inaalam mo na rin kung paano ka mag-estate planning. You're building up further different investment purposes with different investment vehicles to tap on. Okay? So, asset allocation stage, ayaw nyo kasing pagdating nyo ng retirement na dapat stress-free na kayo, doon nyo lahat iisipin yan. Kaya as early as at this stage, rebalancing of your portfolio, starting to do estate planning, and building up further different investment purposes with different investment vehicles. At the retirement phase, 60 and above, 65 and above, or kapag naplano nyo mabuti ang buhay nyo dahil meron nga kayong mga target amounts and nakuha nyo na yung 107 million when you turn 50 or 55, then you can retire. You need not wait till 60 or 65. Sa retirement phase, simple lang naman ang financial concern. A replacement of your income source. So, kung secure ang replacement income nyo, then you have a very smooth retirement phase. Mas mahaba ang may enjoy nyo sa inyong mga anak, sa inyong mga apo, sa inyong mga sa community that you are helping, then it's a complete, fulfilled life for you. Okay? All this 4 financial life phases, lahat yan naka-anchor kung how well you did your financial planning. Okay? In previous episodes, we've discussed financial planning. We'll try to edit it and come up with newer ones kung paano further to do financial planning. Just some reminders, these are not originally mine. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. One cliche goes. So, wag yung katamaran ang paggagawa of getting into financial planning. Because being wealthy, all of us wants to become wealthy, is not a destination. It's a journey. How well you have, paano nyo tinahak yung 4 financial life phases. Because being wealthy, kung gusto nyo yumaman, it is more than identifying the destination or intention to become wealthy. It's your direction. And that direction will be guided by your financial plan. Okay? Some reminders or tips on financial planning na hindi ko nasabi noon. It's very easy actually. As easy as ABC. Kailangan kompleto ang inyong financial plan or ang inyong financial goals. ABC, A for aspiration, ano ba ang gusto nyo? B, blueprint, dapat nakasulat kung ano man yung gusto nyo mangyari. And you calculate, alam nyo kung magkano, alam nyo kung paano. Okay? So, in your aspirations, ano ang gusto nyo mangyari, begin with the end in mind. In a blueprint na nakasulat, when do you want it? When do you need it? Kailangan alam na alam nyo. And calculate how much you need, what are the things you need to do to achieve it. Aspirations, blueprint, and calculate. Way to do financial planning. And of course, yung walang kamatayan, maraming doon sa mga mahilig mag-attend ng seminar, laging sinasabi itong way to, the smart way of identifying your financial goals or any goal in life, be smart. Be specific, measurable, it should be attainable, realistic, and time-bounded. Okay? Kung medyo mas retentive ang memory nyo, kaya nyo pa yung, kayang-kaya nyo yung ABC, aspirations, blueprint, and calculate. Be smart, be very specific. Your goal should be measurable, it should be attainable, and realistic, and of course, time-bounded. Okay? For example, don't just say na gusto mo makabiyahe. Anong klaseng biyahe ang gusto mo? Be very specific. Saan? Sinong kasama? Gaano katagal? Or bakit ka magbabiyahe o bakit ka magbabakasyon? Measurable, how much? Dapat alam mo magkano ang gagastusin para doon sa ninanais nyo na to travel abroad in a specific place with a specific person kung gaano katagal. Attainable, wala bang balakid para makapunta ka doon sa lugar na yon? Baka naman gusto mong pumunta sa Afghanistan, walang turista doon. Realistic, pwede ba talaga kayong makapunta? Okay? And time-bounded, dapat simply, you will be guided very well if you're time-bounded. Sa lahat ng ginagawa nyo, financial life phases, pag-umpisa ng pamilya, pag-aaral, lahat should be time-bounded. There was a study para lang mapakita kung gaano kahalaga ang pagpaplano sa lahat ng aspeto ng ating buhay. In 1979, I read this somewhere, I picked it up from the internet. In 1979, there were 1,000 graduating students from this Ivy League school, Harvard. Okay? 1,000 graduates. Tinanong yung 1,000 graduates, ilan sa kanila ang merong plano sa buhay? Nakakagulat, 84% of them, sabi nila, wala akong masyadong plano or defined goals. Bakit? Harvard graduate ako eh. Ang daming kumukuha sa akin. Dahil galing kami sa pananaw nila, at yun din ang pananaw ng mundo, isa sa pinakamagaling na eskwelahan, ang daming kumukuha sa kanila para magtrabaho sila doon sa kumpanya na yon. So, there is no clear defined goals. 13% of the respondents, sabi nila, may goal sila. Pero yung goal nila, nasa isip lang nila, kasama ng kanilang mga pangarap. Only 3% of the Harvard 1,000 graduates in 1979 said they had a plan and they had it written. Okay? After 10 years, binalikan sila. At tinignan ang mga resulta kung ano ang nangyari sa kanila. Yes, the 84% who had no defined goals, and yes, since they graduate from Harvard, medyo maganda ang katayuan nila sa buhay compared dun sa iba. But the 13% na merong goals, pero hindi nila nasulat, nasa utak lang nila, pero meron silang na-identify na goal kahit papano, were better off compared to the 84% that had no goals. They were earning twice as much if they want some quantitative measurement. But what's revealing is, the 3% who had written goals were earning 10 times more than the rest of them. Okay? So binalikan yung 3%. Tinanong sila, siguro meron kayong natutunan sa inyong pag-aaral sa Harvard. Ang galing nyo siguro magplano. Dahil kayo mga nagplano na nakasulat, you're earning 10 times more compared to your colleagues or peers in the same batch sa Harvard. And 90% of the 3%, so kakaunti na lang yun, sinabi nila, the only reason na natupad ang mga pangako, mga plano nila, because nakasulat. Why? 90% of their plans did not pan out. Hindi nasunod ang plano. Yun po ang importansya ng financial planning. Hindi porke nasulat nyo, naikwenta natin kanina, pagdating nyo ng age 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, etong ganitong amount. Most likely, mas sigurado pa ako siguro sabihin, most likely hindi siya masusunod. But if you have it written down, now you're guided. You can adjust. That is why life is full of risks. At lagi natin pinapaalala rito dahil pera palaguin ang isang advokasya ng Colayco Foundation. Risk is getting something that you are not expecting. What you are expecting, what you will be getting that is different from what you expect, may be better or may be worse than what you expect. So, dito sa moral lesson, dito sa shinare ko sa inyo about planning, plan, have defined goals, write them down. Monitor it on a regular basis, adjust. Definitely, you have to adjust. Okay? As far as financial plannings are concerned, excuse me, hatiin nyo po sa short term, medium term, long term. Time-wise, ang mga short term, 2 years and below. Yung mga medium term, 3 years to 5 years. Gusto nyo makuha o gusto nyo ma-attain o ma-attain. Yung long term, 6 years and more. Nandyan yung mga retirement fund, yung European vacation nyo at 10 years, 15 years from now, when you are about to retire, na malakas-lakas pa ang katawan ninyo. Yung mga medium term, yung regular na palit nyo ng kotse, 5 years from now, gusto nyo every 5 years, nagpapalit kayo ng kotse. Short term, yung kailangan yung pagbayaran na next year, probably the tuition fee ng inyong mga anak. Lahat yan, lahat ng kailangan yung paggastusan, hatiin nyo kung kailan nyo kailangan. Short term, medium term, long term. Okay? In the same book, yung Pera Palaguin Workbook, Mr. Colayco o kami sa Colayco Foundation, we strongly encourage you to write them down, get to prepare some of personal financial statements na required talaga kung gusto nyo ma-manage ang inyong personal finances. First and foremost dyan, yung statement of assets and liabilities. Ilang beses na natin na-discuss yan dito. It's a list of your assets, what you own, less the value or the balance of what you owe, yung inyong pagkakautang. Then you will get your net worth. Okay? Statement of assets and liabilities. Then another personal financial statement is the personal income and expense statement. This one, you do regularly, at least every month. Yung SALN, Statement of Assets and Liabilities and Net Worth, you do it at least once a year. Twice a year kung masipag-sipag kayo. But the personal income and expense statement, you do it every month. Okay? Yung doing it every month, it helps you get into that discipline of having and following certain budget and different expenses na identify nyo. From your household expenses na sana mga 35% lang ang nagagastos nyo sa inyong household expenses. Nandyan din ang transportation expenses na sana hindi lalagpas ng 20%. Ideally, your living expenses na dito kadalasan nagkakaroon ng problema ng overspending na sana hindi lumalagpas ng another 20%. And the last two expenses, yung pangbayad yun ng utang at yung inyong iniipon, dapat naka-allot on may allocation din dyan. Savings, kung nakita nyo, kadalasan sa tao, yan ang pinakamaliit na pinaglalaanan. Pinakamaliit, pag minsan nakakalimutan pa, pero pinakakinakailangan o pinaka-importanting item that we budget or we allocate money to. Okay? So, your personal income and expense statement, again, helps you to have and follow your budget, live within your means, and guide you to spend less than you earn. Sana, hindi lang once a month, twice nyo pang ginagawa sa isang buwan. Yung actual na pumasok at actual na nagastos at yung projected na perang papasok at gagastusin nyo the following month. Dapat dalawa ang ginagawa nyo every month. Okay? So, that is commandment number 2. Define your targets in each life phase. Sana meron kayong natutunan for our episode today here in Seminar School Plus, which ngayon, this is my cue to promote again our books. They're available in all bookstores here in Metro Manila and nationwide. If you are outside of the country or you want to order directly sa Colayco Foundation, just give us a call at 637-3741 or visit our website www.colaycofoundation.com. You can send a communication to us through our website and order the books, and definitely arrangements can be done when you do so. My Facebook, Armand Benco, you can just search it in Facebook and like the page and share with us your thoughts kung ano ang natutunan nyo, ano ang gusto nyong i-discuss pa natin, or meron kayong mga tanong doon sa ating mga na-discuss ngayon. Okay? So, this has been Armand Benco of the Colayco Foundation. Thanking you again for attending another session of Seminar School Plus. Again, our contact details through text, 0917-853-7333, or our email, info@colaycofoundation.com. This has been Armand Benco of the Colayco Foundation, the first and the most experienced in doing financial literacy. Go visit us and follow us here in Seminar School Plus, RHTV. Same time next week, another session, another commandment. Ano ba ang nangyayari sa Pilipinas ngayon? There is only one word, volatility. The technical definition is that volatility is the statistical measure of the dispersion of returns for a given security or market index. Volatility can either be measured by using the standard deviation or variance between returns from that same security or market index. Commonly, the higher the volatility, the riskier the security. Simply, it refers to changes in prices, how high and low those changes are, and how frequently it changes in a short period of time. Malabo ba? In short, volatility yung taas at baba at bilis ng pagtaas at pagbaba ng mga presyo sa maiksing panahon. Sa madaling salita, it refers to how moody the market is. Parang klima lang natin sa Pilipinas ngayon. Malamig sa umaga, mainit sa tanghali, tapos biglang malabagyo pagdating ng hapon o pagdating ng gabi. Volatility in investments does not mean you automatically lose money. It is just a bumpier ride. Time or investing long-term addresses volatility. Why do we have volatility in the market now? Because of the developments in the US economy is seemingly improving. US unemployment rate, housing prices, and its stock market are showing signs of recovery and encouragement. The US Federal Reserve, yung kanilang central bank, indicated that it will soon wind up its 85 billion bond buying program every month. Ito ang suporta nila sa kanilang ekonomiya. Ang hindi na kailangan tulong ay senyales na maraming gumaganda o gaganda ang sitwasyon sa Amerika. Global investors who the past 2 years or so were looking at opportunities in Asia, including the Philippines of course, and who have probably met their investment targets, particularly here, where the market has reached over 20% as of May 2013, started to pull out their investments, thus affecting our market. The ensuing events and the continuing news, perception, speculations have contributed to the decline. Why did these global investors pull out? Simply to invest now in the US at a lower price. And if US indeed improves and goes up, they would enjoy the gain. What numbers do we have now in the Philippines? And what does it mean? First, yung mga hindi masyadong positibo. As of June 25, 2013, all the gains in the Philippine stock market from January to June has been all wiped out. The Philippine Stock Market Index reached 7,392 on May 15. The market index now is 6,118. Simple analysis. If in year 2012, the market was able to grow at 30% and the same positive economic parameters are present noon and ngayon, it is not so impossible that the market can have the same performance or even just half of it. That will result to 11 to 15% from where we are right now. Considering where it has peaked in May, that is a good 20% from present. Will it happen in the next 2 months or till the year ends? No one can tell. But clearly, that is the potential. If you are invested long term, it will. Philippine peso last June 24, 2013 hit a 17-month low at 43.84 pesos to a US dollar. It was trading 40 pesos to 41 earlier this year. OFWs na nagko-complain sa kanilang pagbaba ng halaga ng kanilang mga remittances, ngayon medyo magkakaroon ng konting pahinga at lalo na yung mga negosyante nating nag-e-export. The positive ones, mas marami kaysa doon sa not so positive ones. First, inflation is still within range. Inflation, pagtaas ng mga presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin. May 2013, inflation natin nasa 3%. Inflation rate target range for 2013 for the whole year is about 3% to 5%. So, within range pa rin ang pagtaas ng mga presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang ating ekonomiya, the Philippine economy, grew 7.8%, more than anyone has expected noong first quarter of 2013. Hindi malayo na kung hindi man natin mapantayan o malagpasan, at least positive growth pa rin tayo, sana for the rest of the year. Investment and credit upgrades were given to the Philippines right before the Holy Week at may kasunod kaagad after the Holy Week. This is definitely a good economic indicator. Our banking system is very stable. Banks are well capitalized. Deposits in banks are still in the trillions of pesos, plus those trillions in special deposit accounts. Dollar reserves are more than adequate. As of May 2013, international reserves are at $82.89 billion. Paying for the country's import requirements and servicing of our foreign debt is not a concern because of the huge dollar reserves. Companies are stable enough. Most of those listed in the stock market still existing and earning. General businesses or its sentiment is still high. The political capital is still good. Pinoy maintains a relatively high positive rating. OFW remittances still contribute to our economy, and OFWs continue to be deployed. So, what now? With all the things I mentioned, the volatility we are experiencing, or even the decline, has helped and will help. It helped put some sort of a break in all the excitement in our stock market, more so the unnecessary excitement. It helps correct and reduce the risk of forming bubbles that, if bursted, will cause more serious and damaging problems for us. The economic team of the government, including Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, SEC or Securities and Exchange Commission, at lalo na ang BIR, are on their toes to contribute and manage our economic situation. So as the market is down, the simple buy investment rule, buy low, sell high, holds true, provided your investment horizon is 3 years to 5 years at least. And you have, of course, your investment targets set in place. We are given an opportunity again to just do that and enjoy buying low and able to sell high. Do we have a crisis? I believe not. I believe we have an opportunity. This is Arman Benko, Executive Director of the Colayco Foundation.